Hey everyone who chose group 1 and this card. This is your reading. The reading which we are going to do today is about what do you need to know? What do you need to know right now? What do you need to know for your precise situation? What do you need to know for your specific experiences? So it's a bit of a general reading today, but I thought a broad canvas would be good. So if you haven't already watched the introductory part of it, where you get to actually pick the card you like using your intuition, you can go down into the description box below, find the introductory video and pick a card. Or if you feel drawn to just listening to this reading without actually trying to pick a card, you can do that too. That's absolutely fine. It's only important that you follow what your intuition is telling you to do right now at this moment. So hey, I'm Diana and this is Witchcraft is Political, where we think about spirituality in a political way. So we have here 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords is your signifier. So this basically, with this card, I'm going to basically describe what you might have been experiencing recently, presently, or in the recent past. And if that resonates with you, then we will go on and do the rest of your reading here. And I am going to shuffle the cards on camera because that's much more fun and that's where the magic lies. So let's just get on to it. What do you need to know? So I feel that you may have or you may be currently experiencing a sense of betrayal, a sense of Verrat, as we say in German. And it could be from a specific person or a specific job, but I also get the sense that this could be a larger sense of betrayal by the world, like the world has betrayed you. The world has betrayed you. And I feel a deep cynicism here, a deep sense of cynicism. But underneath that cynicism is really a lot of grief. There is a pool of heavy tar-like grief. So while on the face of it, you might try to keep a mask, which is kind of almost, being quick-witted and kind of, I'm sensing sarcastic humor, quick wit, and those things kind of help you mask your grief, which you feel from the betrayal by the world, not just from others, but also from you yourself. So it's a way of, I feel almost that it's a way of not encountering those deeper feelings of sadness which underlie you experience right now. Because in many ways it's easier to be angry and it's easier to hate. And I'm not saying those are in any way easy emotions. Anger and hate are pretty tough emotions to carry as well. But in some ways they might be lighter than carrying, not just carrying, but also acknowledging in the first place grief, giving grief space, because grief is very silent, and grief has this presence of being there, but then it's easy to ignore it because it's silent, right? And it's easy to then mask it in so many ways and present this kind of I don't care or devil may care, taking huge risks, for instance, in a brash way, not in a courageous way, but in a brash way. And all of these things, these like high thrills and kind of like being high on emotions, allows you to stay away from that one dreaded emotion, which is grief. Or at least that is what you are experiencing right now. And if that doesn't resonate, this file is probably not for you. Go and pick another group. But yeah, 7 of Swords. Maybe you also try to divert yourself away from feeling grief by engaging in intellectual pursuits, a lot of like debating, argumentation, logical, what's the word? Parring? A lot of duels of logic. Is it parring? The word is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember. Anyway, so yeah, these are kind of like it's almost like you feel that you can think your emotions away, you can think your feelings away. It's almost like you feel, or some part of you feels that you just need to organize your emotions, or you just need to kind of put a logical cause or order to them, and then everything will kind of be fine, or those heavier or problematic emotions will go away. That could be another way of dealing with emotions right now, which you may be experiencing. But all that kind of thinking, the intense mountains of thinking, I'm almost feeling, how this guy is carrying the swords, he doesn't look very comfortable. I mean, he's not even carrying the swords by their hilt, he's actually holding them by their blades. So, I mean, he's absolutely cutting himself in the process, right? And so are you cutting yourself up in the process of logical thinking and kind of like trying to solve your emotions by thinking, solve them by thinking. And he's looking so, he almost looks like, he has given the, oh, I'm so bad with words today. It's almost like he seems smug a little bit, like he has given the, he's running away from whatever troubles he might have had. But in fact, he's carrying these very dangerous instruments in his own hands and cutting himself in the process. So it's really kind of a weird situation. It seems logical, but it's not actually very logical. But let's get more information on this. So what do you need to know? Today we will be using these tiny tarot cards, which is part of the Light Seers tarot deck. So let's get right into it. Spirit, what do you have to tell us about group 1? What do they need to know? Okay. The Chariot, Sun in reverse. What does group 1 need to know? It's interesting that grief came up because, I was planning to do this reading about grief, but then, and that was 2 weeks ago, and then I just didn't, for many, many reasons. I just felt like it would be kind of a heavy reading, and I didn't want to do it, right, like for the first reading of the season. But yeah, here we are, still talking about grief. Temperance in reverse. All right. So what you need to know is that there is a very quick, I'm really getting this brash energy that you are making many decisions right now which seem clever, which seem clever, which seem like they have currency in the world as being clever. The same world which you feel has not been so nice to you and which has betrayed you. But still there is currency in the world for a certain kind of position. And it's almost like we have here the Sun in reverse and the Temperance in reverse. So it's almost like you want to be seen as clever, and you want to be seen as someone who's not easily duped by worldly schemes, and you want to be seen like successful. And I mean, of course, these are desires we all have, so it's perfectly normal. But you also want to be, a lot of this need to be seen as clever is actually coming from this sense of betrayal which you have experienced either in a relationship, and that doesn't necessarily mean only a romantic relationship, but just any relation, or in a situation, or against the world itself. And I mean, come on, this kind of society we live in today, who would not feel betrayed, right? It's nothing about it is normal, and everything about it is, not everything, but a lot about it is very, very oppressive. So yeah, in that way, you almost feel like you can escape this betrayal by being smart, by constantly moving forward on a path which has been defined by the world as the path of success, or the path of smart people, the path of people who are not duped. It's almost like you are like, oh, I see through your betrayal, and therefore I am going to be really logical, be really strategic, be really smart, and I'm going to not get duped by your schemes, which is perfectly fine, and it is a perfectly fine desire. It's just that in doing this, you are actually somehow being drawn even more into these toxic energies of the world, which make you feel like you have been betrayed or are being betrayed. Um, there's a saying, the more you run away from something, the more you run towards it. And I know, like, this saying probably doesn't make a lot of sense in Western thinking, because in Western thinking we are used to thinking of things as linear, and that there's point A, point B, point C, and it's all in a straight line. But if you think of things as a circle, in a circular way, right, then it's really that if this is the thing you're running from, the more you're running from it, in fact, you are running towards it. When you run away from it, you are still running towards it. So if you think of your situation in this way, you'll realize that a circular world, or the circle of life in a way, it requires you not, if you really want to break the chain, break the cycle, so to say, right? You can't just run away or run towards things, because as long as you do that, even when you are running away or running towards, obviously, you're still kind of trapped by that thing and its energies, right? To really get off this plane, to really break the cycle, you have to step off the circle altogether, right? And explore these paths, these forests, which are not really defined by the circle, not really defined by the snake here in this example, like, of course, even when you get here, in some ways, you will be oriented to or from the snake, or there will be distance or closeness. But then you are not defining your life or your path by the to or against. So this is kind of a caution, or almost, I feel like you're being cautioned against binary thinking, against the idea that this fight has only two sides, or that it even is a fight. That if you think it's you against the world, for example, it's not that simple. They're saying, like, it's much more complicated. It's not a binary kind of situation, and nothing is a binary kind of situation, like in that extremely black and white sense, right? But that doesn't mean there is not a right and a wrong, but it does mean that your story about the world, the story which you tell yourself about the world, needs to become more three-dimensional. And right now, it's stuck in the two dimensions. I hope this is making some sense. because, again, here with the sun in reverse, I feel in this situation, because you are running on that circle, right? Uh, you're still reacting to a particular thing, even if you're against it, you're still reacting to it, and which means you're still caught up in that circle, right? Uh, and what happens when you're caught up in the circle, that you lose sight of your own circle, your own inner circle, which is the sun, and you get caught up in someone else's agenda, someone else's circle, and someone else's story, basically, right? And you forget your own story and your own desire, and instead you start reacting to others' desires by being attracted to them or by being repelled. So in some ways, like this kind of brashness, um, kind of slick behavior, almost like feeling, not feeling, I would say, but trying to put on a mask almost to show the world that you are strong and you are, you cannot be taken advantage of, is drawing your attention away from your deepest desire, because you're focusing in proclaiming to the world that you cannot be taken advantage of. You're still focusing your energy towards the world and not towards yourself and what you want, not just what the world thinks is an amazing opportunity or an amazing thing to have, but your own sense of self in that way kind of becomes warped, and you lose remembrance of your own story. And temperance in reverse, this kind of, I feel like two major arcanas in reverse, it also speaks to the sun energy, that there's something off balance, and what's off balance here is your timing. It's not that you have, yeah, this message is really coming on strong. You are a really, really smart person. You are a very intelligent being, and you are very creative as well. You have many interesting ideas, and I feel that it might be so that people around you, I mean, it's weird to say you have interesting ideas. I think you are an interesting person. I think that's what I want to say. It's like your being itself is interesting on this world, in this earth. So it's not that you have to generate ideas to offer something, but you do that naturally. I mean, it's not something you try. It's just part of your being, right? And maybe for those skills of yours, for those for that part of you which lives like that, in this deep thinking, creative kind of existence, you have not probably been seen by others or valued by others, or you have been made to feel that you are not enough, or you are not, like, all your ideas or your way of living, not now, but like maybe even when you're a child, like they're not practical, they're not for this world. Maybe you've heard things like that, and that makes you feel deeply unseen. So yeah, this is like really, really, really strong, that if there's something you need to know, is that you have value. You have value here on earth without even trying to achieve something. You have value just in existing. But as long as you move on others' stories, uh, act or react, positive or negative, it's part of the same dynamic, right? As long as you do that, you lose sight of your own story, which which already exists within you. It's more of a forgetfulness, and that forgetfulness is also like it has been heaped upon you. It's not something which just happened. This kind of society which we live in right now has pushed you to think of your original existence as not worthy enough, and always trying to achieve something, to prove something, to justify and validate your existence. But no, you don't have to prove anything. You are enough. You are enough. But now, as you're caught in that web of proving and kind of being putting on that mask of almost cynical humor I'm getting from a lot of people in this group, that it's a defense mechanism for you to not face the grief. But I mean, and I don't mean that in a judgy way, it's just like something maybe you already know, honestly, because you are a very smart person, and I'm sure you already know how you deploy your humor, but and especially how you deploy your cynical humor. But be kind of careful about, if that sarcasm and cynicism is actually making you believe more and more in others' stories, in those oppressive stories, or is it allowing you to come closer to remembering your own story, the one you want to give yourself in this lifetime? Because there is a reason why you are here on this earth right now, in this momentous time of change. And just be aware, because there's nothing wrong per se with cynical humor or sarcasm, but it's more about in what context is it deployed, and what kind of story about the world, about yourself, does it reinforce. Is it a kind of story where you feel empowered after listening to that story, or is it the kind of story where you feel even more disempowered, even more unseen? And if you're telling that story to yourself over and over, and maybe it's time to think if the direction you're moving towards, the direction you are the ladder of success you are so keen on climbing, is it really serving your highest good? Because ultimately, this is your life. No one else is going to live your life, so no one else's opinion really matters. If you hate your job, but people around you think that, oh my God, it's so prestigious, it's so amazing, it's so important, and you are so successful, then that doesn't matter if you want to leave the job, because they are not living the job, then they are not doing the job. So they have no clue what the job is like, and how it makes you feel, and what kind of quality of life you have for yourself is what ultimately matters, right? You matter. And because, so like I was saying, I feel like you have a lot of great ideas, but there is a timing issue here. Like something is off in your timing. Maybe you are approaching things too quickly or too slowly. And maybe you have felt this yourself, like maybe there have been missed opportunities, or maybe there have been projects where you have jumped the gun. I can't say for sure what's I mean, I think like this is a general reading, so obviously like take what resonates, and not everything may resonate. And because many people are watching this or will watch it in the future, it means that there are different energies at play here, of course. So, but to get like a little bit more, I don't know, maybe a little bit more material, let's check out this deck. It's the Mythical Lenormand. Let's get some Lenormand cards for you and see if we have any predictions for you. Let's do some predictions, because sometimes that can be interesting. Okay. All right. Oh, what do you need to know? The whip, ship. Actually, we don't read Lenormand in reverse. The whip, the ship, and the book. So, well, first of all, you're being really hard on yourself. You are being really, really hard on yourself, and you need to stop being so hard. Yeah, you need to stop being so hard on yourself, because it's really easy, to like dismiss the 99 amazing things you do and like focus on that one mistake you made. It's really easy, and I know like I have perfectionist tendencies, and they are the bane of my life. But here's your exercise for the coming week. Just try to focus on the good things you do, the right things you do. Think of it like an experiment. This is not going to destroy your life. Just focusing on the right things you do instead of the mistakes you make is not going to, for a week, is not going to destroy your life. I know there's this fear always of like missing something important, in that perfectionist kind of vibe, but you're not missing anything. What is meant for you will not pass you by. You are not missing anything. So just, if you can, every day, every night before you go to bed, make a list of 3 things you did right today, and or like 3 things you're proud of today, or 3 things you're grateful for today, and just do it for a week, and just watch the difference it will make, because it's like the more you feed the energies of what is wrong, the more it will grow. And this is absolutely not to say that we should not acknowledge or admit our mistakes, or we should not try to learn from our mistakes. But this kind of perfectionism, which involves being hard on yourself for it, for basically demeaning yourself for making a mistake, is not very conducive to actually learning from your mistake. In fact, it inculcates guilt, and guilt is the enemy of learning. Guilt is the enemy of learning from our mistakes, because guilt follows us around and prevents us from exposing ourselves to new avenues from which we might learn. Taking that learner's approach to just kind of making mistakes and then, kind of like learning from them and taking it lightly. But guilt is that heavy energy which drags you down. So if you really want to learn from your mistakes, know that making yourself feel guilty about your mistakes is doing the opposite of it. Okay? Then ship and book. So I see that something you might be traveling, or you might there's an important trip which could clarify for you a lot of the heavy energy which has been lodged down, where you have felt misunderstood and betrayed by the world. And in fact, if you have not already planned a little trip, and this did not be very far away either, I mean, we are still in a pandemic now, but if you can get some time out and be away from your usual surroundings for a while, a little holiday, that will really help you kind of gain perspective again and get back to your own inner sun, being back to your own story, right? And what actually matters to you. And book, yeah, so this is like that there are, if you are waiting for an opportunity or news about something, I feel like it's not been revealed yet. Or if you have to make a decision about something, try to not rush it, because there is not all information which is available to you now. Not everything has been revealed yet. There's some sort of things you still have to learn. There's something still away from the view, right? And you're just being called to not rush anything, or just take your time with your decisions. Whatever is the real you is not going to miss you, as long as you keep being the real you. So instead of putting on that mask and, donning the success persona, maybe it's worthwhile investing in facing that silent resident in your embodied house, which is grief. And maybe there is some secret to be learned, through allowing yourself and your body to experience that emotion. And this, I'm not saying like wallow in your grief or something like this, but I mean, of course, you need to also bring some lightheartedness in your life, allow yourself a rest if you are grieving. But this does mean that not all information is available right now about maybe even the situation where you feel betrayed, or the situation which caused you grief. So just kind of be aware of that. And yeah, that's basically what the cards have to say. Let's pull out some Archangel Animal Oracle cards for you and see what they have to say. Just some last messages for your pile. Group 1, Angels and Spirit Guides. I really want you to know, this is what your guides are saying, I really want you to know that all the vague aches and frustration, which is very hard to articulate in this time which we are experiencing, is gonna go away. It's not here forever, and your life is not going to be like this. Just please allow yourself to relax. I know it's easier said than done, but it's part of letting go, letting, part of the reason why we can't relax, because relaxing is all about letting go. And if we are not very practiced with letting go, neither am I, it's even something I'm learning, surrender. So that's part of the life skill in a way, which we need to practice. And it's also part of the politics of refusal, part of carving a new politics, a new radical politics. It's not just about what can we create and what can we bring in, it's also about what can we shed and how well honed are our abilities to shed, right? A snake, it's interesting, the snake is coming again, right? A snake doesn't only grow new skin. For the new skin to grow, for the new skin to be viable, the old must be shed. And these are separate processes in many ways, like they require different kinds of skills. And you are being asked to focus on that letting go skill. What can you let go of the past? What can you let go of the situation? Right now I'm feeling there's a lot of like tight holding on to energy. And the more you can let go, the more you can relax. And it does not have to be perfect, just like to the extent that you can. The more it will help you, help you to just see who you are more clearly. Set clear boundaries and enforce them. Set clear boundaries and enforce them. And this is about letting go, right? Because you can't let go without having good boundaries, because letting go means saying no. But it also means good boundaries is not only about saying no, but it also means saying yes to the right situation, to the right person, to the right group of people. But you can only say yes to the right group of people when you say no to the wrong group of people, because space you occupy on earth and in your body a finite space. So if you want to let somebody in, or if you want to let a situation in, you have to let go of something, right? Like, it's the basic principle of matter, right? So yeah, this is about your boundaries. This is about what can you let go to allow the right things in. What you are looking for requires less effort, much less effort than you think right now. What you are looking for in your life requires much less effort than you think. Right now, because you are thinking that you have to build the thing you want from scratch, and you're thinking of all the effort that comes with it, because you're thinking in terms of accumulation, in terms of creation, in terms of like, putting in rather than putting out, rather than letting go. But the thing is, once you let go, the thing will come, the thing you're looking for, the experiences you're looking for will automatically come in. Maybe it's a group of people you have outgrown. So it's not about building something from scratch, because that's where your focus energies might be focused on right now. But can you focus your energies instead on relaxing and on not holding tightly, but letting go? Let it flow. I know, sounds paradoxical, but that's the message I'm getting. So thank you for watching. I hope this reading helped you in some way. Remember, you are really, really valuable. You really are. And if you ever doubt it for a second, come watch watch this video again. Like, don't doubt it. That's all I'm saying, because I see all your energies here, and I feel all your inner turmoil, and I just want to tell you that you are not alone. We are here together as a community for you, and whatever it is, it will pass. I promise you that. That's the one promise I can make to you. Take care. Bye.